What country prescribes the most drugs? The United States, the greatest absolute prescription drug spending as a country of all countries in the world, is and spending as a country, its spending per capita on drugs is still significantly higher than that of other countries. What country uses the most prescription medications? The 2023 data suggests the average number of medications taken is 4. Research on prescription drug spending suggests that the United States consumes the most prescription drugs on Earth. What is the most medicated country? The United States is the most medicated country in the world, according to the National Center for Health Statistics, where antidepressants are typically provided for those under 60 and where an estimated 50% of the population uses prescription medications. Ask your doctor if medications are right for you. What country develops the most drugs? The United States of America has the distinction of being the largest producer of medicines in the world. What country uses the most pharmaceuticals? The United States was the largest national pharmaceutical market in 2022, making up over 42% of the total drug spending worldwide. America makes the most prescription drugs, America consumes the most prescription drugs, and we have the most chronic illnesses on Earth. Do you want to know why? Because you're all drugged. Posterior, subscapular, and nuclear cataracts. Nuclear cataracts are the most common. After vitrectomy. Vitrectomy. Do y'all know what vitrectomy is? This is in the Journal of Cataract and Refractory Surgery. This is a cataract. I mean, not a cataract, sorry. This is retinal detachment. And there's a procedure for fixing retinal detachment. It's called vitrectomy. And this is just a little video that shows it. Now that we have summarized that the United States of America is the most drug country on Earth, including those prescription drugs that are known and probable to cause all cataract formation. Now that we've summarized that, it's not just medications they know that cause these cataracts. This on the screen is a research study from the Journal of Cataracts and Refractive Surgery for eye doctors. It's titled Posterior Subcapsular and Nuclear Cataract After Vitrectomy. Now, let's not go off this screen yet. Nuclear cataracts are the type of cataracts that's right in the middle of your eye. It was the first of the 3 I showed you earlier. Remember, they say the most common cause for this is age-related. Not true. I just showed you all the prescription drugs that Americans and Australians and everyone around the world are pumping full in their bodies that are annually increasing to cause these kinds of cataracts, and the drugs called corticosteroids and inhalers that they know causes posterior subcapsular cataracts. That's on the title of the screen. So these 2 types of cataracts of the 3 total, posterior subcapsular and nuclear cataracts after vitrectomy. Now, in case y'all don't know what vitrectomy is, because you're not an eye doctor, I'm going to show you. I didn't know what it was, so I'm going to show you what it is. And here's a short little video describing what this procedure is. It's primarily for retina detachment. Here we go.
During a vitrectomy, your ophthalmologist makes a tiny incision in the sclera, or the white of the eye. A small instrument is placed into the eye to remove the vitreous gel. Once the vitreous is removed, your surgeon will inject a gas or silicone oil bubble in the eye to push the retina back against the wall of the eye. The tears and weak areas of the retina are then sealed with either a freezing probe or a laser treatment.
And now you know what vitrectomy is. All right, so let's get back to the actual presentation. In this study, talking about the 2 types of cataracts created by this procedure, the purpose of the study, they state, is to examine the morphological changes, the disease changes, in the post-vitrectomy lens and to monitor the development of these changes over time. This was done by the Oxford Eye Hospital in the United Kingdom. In this study, 33 consecutive phakic patients having pars plana vitrectomy were recruited. A characteristic transient posterior subcapsular cataract was present in 89% of those who had this procedure within 24 hours of surgery. 89%. That's 90% of all people who had this procedure done using what's called tamponade, tampon to stop bleeding. Okay, that's what it means, tamponade. 89% of people within 24 hours develop this particular cataract called subcapsular. Of the patients who had vitrectomy without tamponade, stopping the bleeding, 9%, 1 out of 11, developed similar changes to their lenses. The nuclear type cataracts developed in 61% of those patients that had this procedure, and in 50% of those who got the procedure without having to stop bleeding, called non-tamponade patients. A longer-term review of the same patient's case notes revealed nuclear cataracts, which they say is only caused by aging, in 67% of those who got tamponade surgery included, and 30% of those who had none of the stopping of the bleeding in their procedure. Look at this number, 18%. That's almost 1 out of every 5 of non-tamponade cases, and 67%, almost 70% of those with tamponade cases had cataract surgery after 10.7 months and a 12.4-month follow-up, respectfully. So those who had retinal detachment, who got this vitrectomy surgery I just showed you a video of, 18%, 1 out of 5, and 67%, 14 out of 21, had to schedule cataract surgeries to have cataract surgeries done within 10 months of that surgery and 12 months of the tamponade surgery, where they have to like stop the bleeding or where the tears are. So this is not age-related. They know this procedure alone within 24 hours causes cataracts to form. And up to 70% of everybody who has this procedure has to have cataract surgery within 1 year. It's not just ages. Vitrectomy and tamponade produced a characteristic transient post subcapular cataract in the immediate post-operative period, the immediate, right afterwards. And the acute changes resolved, but were followed by accelerated nuclear cataract formation called opacification. And to remind you what a nuclear cataract looks like, it looks like that. I'm Dr. Ardis. This is the Dr. Ardis Show. These are the causes of cataracts. How many of you learned something today? How many of you know people on prescription medications you've known about, or you yourself are on, and now know that they could be what is known to cause cataracts to form and are probable, diagnosed, and published in research studies to cause cataracts? Here's our QR code again to be notified if this was helpful. Remember, part 2 is coming up. Remember our new book, Moving Beyond the COVID-19 Lies, a #1 bestseller on Amazon right now. Sharing a bestseller spot with Melania Trump's book. Go get it. You need it. Your loved ones need it. The subtitle of the book is Restoring Health and Hope for Humanity, and that's the goal and intention behind the entire book. I am Dr. Brian Ardis. This is what your medical doctors are not going to tell you about cataracts. Cataracts affect millions of people around the world. Vision loss affects millions of people around the world, and what you don't know is the majority of you being prescribed shots, medications that actually are known to cause cataracts to form. Now, I want you all to be aware that when I showed the video of the surgery called vitrectomy, that is for retinal detachment, which leads to blindness. Also, the procedure leads to cataract formation. There are 2 very popular drugs, including one of them, 2 of which are called Ozempic and Wegovy. They are the same drug. These 2 drugs are being promoted for weight loss, diabetes, and heart disease. Wegovy was just approved by the FDA a few months ago to be given to senior citizens to be covered by Medicare for any senior citizen who's been diagnosed with any heart disease. Wegovy and Ozempic are made from a venom protein from the Gila monster lizard in the deserts of the United States of America. The venom inside Ozempic and Wegovy is called Exendin-4, EXENDIN-4. In the Ozempic and Wegovy research papers and on the product details on drugs.com and other outfits that share side effect knowledge published about drugs, Ozempic and Wegovy are published to cause blindness, particularly in those with diabetes, because it accelerates what's called diabetic retinopathy, which leads to 20 times more blindness in those that use Ozempic and Wegovy. That is published in their literature. Diabetic retinopathy leads to retinal detachment, which also leads to blindness, the vitrectomy surgery, which also will lead to cataracts. So if you don't want cataracts, ask your medical doctor if the prescription drugs I just showed you in this presentation are right for you. And if your medical doctor knows that what he is prescribing is published to cause cataracts that millions of people are having to succumb to restore their vision, when in fact there are no natural remedies and preventative measures. Number one, you're learning here, avoid the drugs that are known and published to cause cataracts. Inhalers for asthma and COPD, they know that causes it. Also, the prednisone, glucocorticosteroids, and the like, what we just actually presented to you, these are known to cause cataracts. The more you avoid those, the risk for cataracts goes down. And remember, we highlighted the researchers highlighted this. It appears there is a large investment being made to make sure those prescription medications that cause cataracts are continuing to be prescribed to people all over the world at increasing rates each year. And with that, you're going to see more and more cataracts, just like the NIH showed. And what you're about to get in part 2, which will be coming up right after this podcast in the next week or two, is the antidotes to prevent cataracts and what is published and known to reverse them. You're going to be shocked and excited. I was thrilled to put this together. Part 2 is coming up. This causes for cataracts part of the presentation was too big. I thought to compile both of these together and make one big presentation about cataracts. So now we've done 2. Part 1 we've just completed. Part 2 is coming up. Make sure you share these with your loved ones far and wide. God bless you. We love you. Thank you for spending time with me today. I am Dr. Ardis. This is the Dr. Ardis Show. We will see you next time.